121. So we have learned how microphones work. So without further ado, let's do a fireside chat with Lou. So Lou, come over here, I guess. Sit down.
Hello?
We have a mic, and I'll sit here, and let's see if that resonates or not. Okay, looks good. So, Lou Kerner, a great guy that I happened to meet a few times.
My marketing director.
During those global crypto conferences, and actually a course mate of Jeff Burton, who is like a common guest here in Vilnius. And Jeff has made an intro, and we met a few times ever since in Paris, actually, last year at the Metaverse Summit. It was a great party afterwards. And little by little, get to know each other. Now Lou has spent the last 4 or 5 days in Vilnius. It's good that he saw the sun, not the usual winter situation. But it's always important to learn, from people that are global, luminaries traveling around the world, seeing other perspectives. And today I would like to, dive deeper into Lou's story, how he got into crypto, and why he has launched this Crypto Mondays community and what it is today. So Lou, what's your story with Bitcoin and crypto and Web3 and community?
So real quick, I was a Wall Street analyst. I left that. Started my first digital company was the top-level domain .tv that we bought from the island nation of Tuvalu, and the second digital company that I co-ran was called Bolt, and we ended up being the largest social network in the world before MySpace, and we peaked at 23 million kids in 2006, and that's when I learned about community, and I wasn't a community expert before, but after that, having run a community, and I was angel investing, I started investing in community because I knew that, and the genesis of this, I actually became a made-up shareholder in 2010, and and the CEO kept on saying, when are you going to start one? When are you going to start one? So I started one a long time ago, and they're kind of magical. The people you want to show up just show up. My genesis with crypto, I became an angel investor, a VC, and I was a VC focused on tech companies founded by Israelis. I went down the rabbit hole 13, 14, deep enough that the Wall Street Journal wrote a story on Bitcoin, quoted me as Wall Street's Bitcoin expert, but while I looked at it, I did not see it. And June 29th, 2017, when ICOs were going crazy, I wanted to understand that. I actually held a conference call with 4 experts, and one of them, Olaf Carlson, a VC from the US, said something, and literally I had what's called the Gestalt shift, and I saw the crypto light. And what I saw was, for the first time in history, we had a tool set to solve for the community instead of the man in the middle, and I thought that was going to be the biggest thing ever. And so I've been 24/7 crypto now more than 6 years. The genesis of Crypto Mondays, literally, I got an email one day saying, hey, you do meetups, we're a bar restaurant. If you want to have a meetup at our bar restaurant on a Monday, we'd be happy to host you for free. And I thought about it 5 seconds, and I responded, thanks for your kind offer, but what I'd really like is 10% of the bar and every Monday till the end of time. And they said, great, when can you start? And we started January 8th, 2018, which is quite memorable because that was the peak market cap day for 2 years. So we were actually celebrating the start of crypto winter, but we had 300 people at the first one. I'd never had 300 people at a meetup before. The next week we had 350 and 3 TV crews, and decided to blow it out around the world, but decentralized, truly decentralized. And so the joke is, last month got a call from Medellin. We want to start Crypto Monday, so I set it up. We're decentralized. Good luck. A couple weeks later, they sent an email saying, hey, we're having our first meetup next week, and we want to make sure that it's okay to do ABC. And I write them and say, you can do ABC. The only thing you can't do is write me an email asking if you can do ABC. What part of decentralized did you not understand? And I think to the degree it's a success, it's because of that. And so first, and I'm sorry I didn't start with this, but I'd really like to give Daniel a big hand for making this, and previous ones happen for the community. So thank you.
Thank you.
And now I spend the majority of my time on something called the Crypto Oracle Collective. We're a decentralized Web3 advisory service. We started with 24 Web3 experts last July. We're now 231. And yeah, I mean, it's early days. I go around bouncing between Crypto Mondays. There are now more than 50 active chapters around the world. This is the 32nd chapter that I visited, and excited to spend the time here in Vilnius. It's been really a lot of fun. Such a beautiful country, and I'm looking forward to getting to meet more of you from the community.
So Lou actually said to me that it's more important to meet people, than to talk, having like experts speak in front of the public. But I think it's important to, also talk, discuss ideas, present, what ideas are important to a person in order to better connect with him later on. So Lou, what is important to you today, in the world of Web3?
Again, to me, this is all about community, and so I go around not only the cities checking out the communities, but I'll go to the ecosystem summits. To me, the highlight of the 6 years that I've been 24/7 crypto was ETH Denver 2020. It was at the bottom, of the crash of crypto winter, that crypto winter, and it was 2,000 people there, but they were 2,000 of the smartest people I'd ever met, who were passionate, who were changing the world, and they weren't going to go to some other chain because they were twice as fast. This is about community, and and they had, and they're the pantheon of communities. And so what we need to solve for is token economics and governance and consensus to really have true decentralization, of anything of complexity. The nice thing is we have things like Uniswap that are, decentralized and awesome, but they don't really have to change very much. They don't have to make very many decisions, and those things can scale. But most things, we don't yet have the tool set to really be decentralized.
But at the same time, you're also trying to use the tool set in what you do with Crypto Mondays and Crypto Oracle Collective. Both of them are DAOs. Tell us a bit more how you try to use these tools.
Sure. I gave Crypto Mondays to the DAO about 2.5 years ago. For me, the most important word in the English language is balance, and you can never get balance right, so I don't think about where I want to be balanced, I think of where I want to be out of balance. And so when I thought of giving it to the DAO, I thought, do I want to be out of balance on giving it too early or too late? And I decided I'd rather give it too early. And they really weren't able to have the whole be worth more than the sum of the parts, which was the hope. With the Crypto Oracle Collective, I refer to this period of decentralization as the benevolent dictator period, because again, we don't have the tool set to really have decentralization of something as complex as a consultancy. In a lot of projects, you have to believe in the person or people who are leading it, who say that they're on the path to decentralization. And I think I benefit from the fact that, I've actually talked about doing that once before and, built up something of real value and gave it to the community.
So talking about communities, you have traveled to 32 other Crypto Mondays, and you could I think you could evaluate communities by seeing them, what do you think makes great communities? What are the great communities in the world as you see it, and how does Vilnius compare?
Well, it's early in my Vilnius experience. I will say it would be great to see more females. I think that's something that a lot of ecosystems are challenged with. When I started this, when I started Crypto Mondays, he alluded to it, I didn't have any speakers because most of the time I was going to meetups and there were people speaking. I wish they'd shut up, and because most of the value, I think, is in the networking of these events. But you get a lot more people actually if you do have speakers, and so I started having them in New York and started having these fireside chats. what makes a great community? I go around, I give a talk called 10 Thoughts on Community, because I've been thinking about it for a while. And I start with defining community, because what does community even mean? And to me, what a community is it's an ecosystem where when it works, everybody gets more out of it than they give. And, who doesn't want to be a part of that? And to me, Web 2 was about how much money can I make off my customer? How much margin can I make off my customer? Web 3, to me, is about how much utility can I give my community member?
So, what is your forecast for Web3 community at large, in the next 5 years?
This isn't about getting, to me, 100% of the world, right? We don't need to get 100% of the world to believe in this. Bitcoin's, roughly 30,000, and what percent of the world owns Bitcoin? 0.1%? And so I think if 5% of the world actually joins, and has, crypto communities as a major part of their lives, I think the world would be a phenomenally better place, and I think Bitcoin would be $1 million.
Looking forward to that. And we see these boom and bust cycles, trends. We used to talk about metaverse. Now it's AI. What do you think about these topics? Is metaverse done? Or what? Well, are NFTs done?
Yeah, I have a word that I use to describe the tendency of markets to swing between bubbles and crash and bubble again. And I call that capitalism, because that's all it does. It just back and forth and back, and it's, to me, it's like the sun going up and down. And, when the sun goes down, a lot of people think that thing that they saw before is no longer there. Pretty sure the metaverse is a thing. The sun is down. You have to have faith that it's a thing, because you can't see it so clearly today. But pretty sure it's a thing. And when I use the word metaverse, to me what that means is, when you're on the phone, you're in the metaverse, right? That's not reality. And, obviously, when you're in an Oculus Rift, that's full of VR. And I'm pretty sure every day for the rest of my life, humanity as a whole is going to be spending more time in the metaverse as I just defined it, and it's going to be moving closer to the Oculus Rift.
Cool. So what should people talk about to you? Community. So like,
I'm a broken record.
Yeah.
I've been talking about community, for 6 years, and pretty sure I'm going to be talking about it for the next 20. But look, anybody that's doing anything, for me, community is all about engagement. And anybody who has a growing, engaged audience, whose engagement is more today than yesterday, that's to me what's exciting.
So, in order to facilitate, further interactions of these 50 plus people with you, what are your interests and what they should talk about? Is it becoming a Crypto Oracle Collective member?
Yeah, certainly. Anybody who's interested in becoming a member, come, talk to me, give me your email.
What is Crypto Oracle?
What?
What is Crypto Oracle?
Crypto Oracle is a decentralized Web3 advisory service. We're a community. Today, the main value that most community members are getting is we have Web3 experts come and talk to us every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Not very convenient for Vilnius, but we're going to start it up in Europe by the end of the year. And right now we have about 20 people. It's early days, actually working for the collective and earning collective tokens and being able to pay their rent.
Nice. So that's actually a decentralized infrastructure that works to some extent.
Well, on the path to decentralization.
Okay, so I think with that we have the intro of Lou, and now what we will do, we will transition, you stay here, we will transition into the voices of EthCC Paris, so that we share with our community, what was there, what are the news.
Yeah, but and just by the way, Crypto Mondays Paris was the 5th one that started in May of 2018, and Mike Lamar, the guy who started, massively talented guy, it grew and it grew till it became Paris Blockchain Week. And yeah, anybody who wants to go to a great conference in Europe, I truly believe that that's Europe's best conference. It's really an amazing conference and an amazing ecosystem.
And it's not far from Vilnius, which is great. So I would like to invite to the stage Sarunas Legeckas from Founderheads. Please come here. Yeah, let's get cheers. Then Laurent from MEV Capital. Oh, yeah, just arriving. Come here, yeah. Let's gather everyone here. Then Gabija from Mangrove.Exchange. And I'm missing Ignas from Lubin. Strategy Labs by Lubin. Yeah. So how many more cheers do we need? Oh, Rapolas, please join us as well. Rapolas Bičiulis from, remind me your Z Prime Capital. Very innovative. We'll do intros now. Okay, I'll sit here. Okay, and Lou is somewhere here. Good. Yeah. Okay. So these people have been to Ethereum Community Conference Paris, which was the hottest thing according to Lou in the world, and now have the most news of what's happening there. But before they start, let them introduce themselves. So Laurent, you have the mic, so you're first.
Well, thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you from Crypto Monday for the opportunity we have here to all meet. I'm really pleased for the invitation, and it's good to continue after Ethereum France. It was a pretty nice time we had. We had all the players amongst crypto, from Vitalik Buterin, the co-founder and visionary of Ethereum, Hayden Adams, the CEO and visionary of Uniswap, and different name of the ecosystem. And yes, so I'm Laurent Bourquin. I arrived in Vilnius 5 years ago, and with my colleagues we created MEV Capital, which is an on-chain delta neutral fund that only operates on Ethereum L1. And since the last 2.5 years, we have grown from 0 to 42 million AUM that we only deploy on Ethereum L1. And most of our priority is to make sure that the AUM of our clients are safe in a solid smart contract.
Cool. Gabija is next.
Hello everyone, so my name is Gabija. I'm, I think, more new to the space than Laurent. I'm from Mangrove. We built an order book-based DEX where liquidity providers are able to post smart contracts as offers. So in a sense, it's quite similar to those who are familiar with, let's say, UniV4. But yeah, I spoke at EthCC. I believe my talk is available online as well if you're interested. But yeah, it was a super nice event. It was my first one, so I don't have anything to compare it with. A lot of great speakers, a lot of great people in general to network, to talk about DeFi and what the future holds for the space, I guess.
Hi everyone, my name is Rapolas and I represent a venture capital fund operating in crypto space, Z-Prime Capital. So we invest in early stage startups, both pre-seed, seed levels, as well as some later stage projects as well. We are a European fund. Actually, one of our investments are represented here, the Mangrove.Exchange. So yeah, we are a 6-people team, and operating a third fund of ours now. So yeah, if there's any questions, we can discuss after the talk.
Yeah. Give the mic to Ignas.
Hey guys, I'm Ignas. I'm associate partner at Strategy Labs, which is also part of Lubin Group. So we do strategy consulting and also helping Web3 clients to obtain licensing in Lithuania, so banking licenses and EMI licenses. And yeah, my background is in management consulting mainly, and I also worked at the Bank of Lithuania. So yeah, we do mainly licensing, but we also do some strategic advice to various Web3 projects. And besides that, of course, like traditional management consulting to bigger corporates. Yeah, so that's me.
Hi everyone, my name is Sarunas. I represent Founderheads, so it's a Lithuanian VC. I think we invested to close to 30 companies in the last 3 years or so. Also LPs in a couple of venture capital firms globally. And yeah, met most of these people in Paris, and yeah, very happy to be here and yeah, answer your questions.
Since you're last with the mic, you're the first one to start, actually. So, you know, since we haven't been there, what stood out as the key differences, key novelties to you? And I'll go with the same question for everyone. So what was different? What should we consider?
Yeah, so first of all, it was my first conference, Paris EthCC. I didn't plan to go. I thought I'm going to take a summer off, but I don't know, 90% of our partners said that we're going, let's meet. So I decided it must be an important conference. So I went there, and no regrets. It's definitely one of the strongest builder conferences I've been. I've been to DEF CON in Bogota last year, but I kind of felt that this one year was even more concise and I don't know, maybe less spread out, and at least for me it was more interesting and useful than DEF CON. I mean, few things that really stood out. So one of the things is that there were a lot of builders. So everyone you meet is building something cool, something interesting. There's a lot of smart people. 90% of what they say I don't understand, but that's, I guess, a good sign. Another thing is that these people are very open. They're raising, they're doing workshops and events together, so they share the ideas of the newest trends. So yeah, so I think the quality of people, the quality of the side events, lunches, the caliber of people and VCs that came to the event, I think was top notch. So really, my recommendation for everyone would be to go there and try to get as many side events and side parties as possible, because I think this is where most of the things are happening. So a very quick intro from me. I bet Daniel will have more questions.
Yeah, you're just making us jealous that we didn't go. But okay, Ignas, apart from the parties and all those side events, so what content-wise, what was new? What should we look forward to in building projects or fundraising?
Yeah, I mean, it seems that from my perspective is that all the bad type of hype is gone, and all the people who are building are still there. So that's the general, I would say, overview. And in terms of what's happening, of course, the account abstraction thing. I mean, a lot of projects focusing on that. And it seems that most of the pretty well-known protocols such as Uniswap, different ones, are trying to bridge the gap to retail as much as possible, coming closer to the retail market and building tools that could help onboard more users. So that's also a big trend, I would say. And yeah, ZK. ZK is it's one of the hottest topics as well. So yeah, overall was really cool. Really liked it. Yeah.
So let's transition to Laurent and ask him if he thinks ZK is worthwhile to even look at.
Yeah, so ZK stands for Zero Knowledge Proof. I think it's the highest mathematical concept I ever crossed in my life, so it's going to be hard to explain what is ZK. So basically, in few words and at high level, ZK is a mathematical concept that exists since the 70s. So actually, it's not. It's a cryptographic methodology to make sure that you have access to something that is true without having all the information. So you can validate a transaction without knowing what is inside. That's the core of ZK. So why is it great? For the simple reason that since blockchain is monothread, meaning that there is only one block every 12 seconds, it takes a lot of time and money, so gas, to digest the transaction. So in order to concatenate all the information into one transaction, we will only need to have a fraction of it to make sure that this transaction is valid. In other words, ZK rollup, so zero knowledge rollup, is a way to minimize the time and the price of validating information in the blockchain. So we have a ZK EVM from Matic, we have a Starknet from Kero team, and we will have ZK ERA. So basically there is like different company that try to build the most robust ZK rollup ever made. But just to go back on your point, why this year Ethereum France number 6 was the most prestigious so far I've been, for the reason is that the market, we are on bear market. And when we are on bear market, as you rightfully said, all the noise about like picture, penguin, NFT and scam goes away, and what stays are the real builder. And when there is less scam, but more builders, you can access to people such as Michael Egorov, Vitalik Buterin, Hayden Adams. They talk to you, they exchange with you without all the white noise of the pump and dump market cycle. So that's why I think this year Ethereum 6 was pretty great, and next year is going to be in Brussels, by the way, for the one who wants to come.
Cool. Gabija, what do you think?
I totally agree. I think although we are in bear market, I didn't feel that in the event. We had a lot of VCs going around, interested, looking into various projects to invest. We had a lot of new projects that, wanted to introduce themselves in the space. At the same time, we had great talks, very different talks, I would say. So a few months ago, I was in EthCC Prague, so cannot compare these two in terms of scale and mass, but very exciting with the space and what's happening. I would say my takeaway from the conference was that L2s are on the hype. With the data availability, the scaling with the Ethereum upgrade coming soon, with changes or novelties that Egan introduced in terms of data scalability. So that all leads to, L2s booming, essentially. I think in the future we will have as many chains as right now. I would say we have websites on the internet, something like this, and we will need one, I would say, master app that would manage it all. And so far, I would say Uniswap is slowly converging to that direction with introduction of UniV4, with more sophisticated liquidity sourcing and in general liquidity management. They had to introduce Uniswap X that solves the fragmentation issue. So I would say their steps or strategy is very well thought of, and I would say a lot of to be converging in the same direction that essentially leads to scalability of the whole DeFi space, and yeah, I would say we need one master app that would yield mass adoption.
It's called X.com. Elon said, half world's banking will be done through it.
Yeah,
I think he said it yesterday. Rapoli, so do people invest only in ZK, DeFi, or what's the landscape? What startups are booming? What VCs are investing?
Yeah, actually, I guess the disappointing thing, at least from my perspective, is that so many investors just focus like on the infrastructure projects right now. So like infrastructure is perceived to be like very safe. It's like picks and shovels, right? So like everyone wants to invest in that. And I mean, we at Zprime, we started investing in infrastructure projects from like 2019, early 2020, and like we could invest like in any project in infra back then because everyone was like investing in DeFi and gaming and like all the other stuff. But now kind of the pendulum has swung in the other direction, and infrastructure is like way overinvested, we feel like. So like, for example, gaming, I mean like projects just struggle to raise funds. So like a lot of gaming projects that raise money, they're kind of like, dead for the most part now. So that's the investment landscape, I guess. In terms of the conference itself, it was actually, I feel like, a bigger conference compared to last year where I was as well. I feel like the mood is also like better because prices are higher compared to last year. So there's no like depression in the crowd. I would say that like two big topics at EthCC was the account abstraction that Ignas mentioned, which is like allowing more people to like access the wallets and manage their wallets compared to MetaMask. And then the other thing was the block building. So it's kind of like people are discussing ideas how to make sure that block building remains like a competitive process, and there's like no centralized block builders that can like steal all the like MEV for themselves. And MEV stands for like maximum extractable value. So this is the amount of money that basically users leave on the table when they transact on Ethereum. And so the idea is now that, okay, like we should democratize this process so that like as many block builders as possible could have access to the MEV space. So yeah, these are, I guess, the two new topics compared to last year, and other stuff like ZK and data availability is kind of more or less the same as it was like discussed last year.
Okay, Lou, come here to take the mic and be careful speaking. So, what would you like to ask these guys, that you think the conference was about or was somehow, different? Because we are trying to uncover the truth here, what's happening this year, what's happening in the next few years, where should people direct their attention if they fell off from the, thread of news?
There's a lot of good comments. I would say for me, the biggest thing that I saw was the news about Celo transitioning. It's a layer 1 blockchain transitioning from a L1 to an L2, and I saw you said that L2s are overhyped. But I mean, for me, right, that just further signaled. And I'm sure. Should I stand? Okay. It's got to be someplace better. There we go. Much better. I mean, to me, it just kind of solidified what I thought had been pretty obvious, that Ethereum has won the L1, and now they realize the bigger opportunity. Okay, even though they don't, let's become an L2. So I don't know if anybody has anything to add to that, because I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I think this just shows like why, like how, like if you're alternative L1 and you're like EVM compatible, like what is your business case compared to like Ethereum? Like what exactly you offer something that's different? And I think like Celo's decision just like shows that like, okay, like it doesn't make sense to like exist as standalone L1 if you're offering like exactly the same block space. So I think it's kind of like very logical decision.
I think Sarunas wants to add something. Or share, let's go in circles, then you have equal amount of time to think.
Yeah, sure. So I don't think I have anything to add to what just Lou and Rapolo said. I think one other topic that was very interesting was covered in a great detail, and we see a lot of deal flow coming in that space is LSDFi, so liquid staking and projects related to that. So we know Lido protocol, we know Rocket Rocket Pool and some other liquid staking protocols that are booming. Their TVL is more than $20 billion now. So I think there is a new wave coming of like launching, maybe better liquid staking protocols or restaking and all that kind of stuff. So actually there was quite a few events, and there was even one day full event dedicated just to kind of LSDeFi marketplace discussions and so on and so on. So also had a couple hours there, had to meet some people. Some of them are interesting, some of them are saying we're just going to do what Lido does but just add this one new feature and so on and so on. So yeah, one missing thing maybe from what I see, from what everyone mentioned, was also a space to watch is LSDeFi space. I think that's interesting, that shows potential, that shows that people are interested in participating. So we are very confident that it's definitely going to be a thesis or a trend in the next couple of years. That's what I think.
So let's go to Ignas. But now I would like to, if you do not have any other, notable things to add about the conference, maybe you could direct advice towards one of the three groups. One is simply crypto investors, hodlers, etc. Second one is builders of something that is not DeFi, not directly related to finance, but more maybe like games. Well, with crypto, I think it's related to finance, but broader than what everyone's talking about: DeFi, ZK Sync, etc. So I think these are three categories. The ordinary people, then gaming and all the other Web3 startups, and then DeFi and crypto finance related.
The one thing I would like to add is the area which hasn't been already mentioned here is the real world asset tokenization. I think that's also very hot right now, and that comes from also this area which is not extremely developer heavy or IT technical skills heavy, and I believe that it still has a lot of opportunity. That's what Laurent is doing with MV Capital as well, stuff like that, where you can offer to traditional companies opportunities to benefit from yield with stablecoins especially, but also with different various other DeFi, from various different DeFi activities, as well as from tokenizing real world assets. That's an area being explored, and I think it still has huge potential, which is still unrealized, and that's more business heavy than IT infrastructure heavy, I would say. So yeah, my advice to business people to focus on that.
To me, I was only hearing about gaming industry and so I mean, what is gaming industry? Look at Blizzard, Activision, the one who did the World of Warcraft. It took them 6 years to develop the game, the MMORPG, right? I don't understand why you want to build a game on a blockchain. I don't want to play with pixel, right? I want to play on a centralized server so I can have a multiverse. I understand it's hype, I understand it's cool to mention gaming and gaming and blockchain, but actually right now the blockchain doesn't have the capacity to run any game on it. So I think where maybe there might be some relation is that in an MMORPG, you have an economy. You have gold, you have swords, you have some perks that you would like to exchange between one game or another, take loans to do a quest. And then here, I understand the evolution of blockchain, why blockchain is needed for gaming. But once again, this is decentralized finance. You are decentralizing the economy of a game. So I don't understand why everyone talk about DeFi. To me, it's the way around. Everyone talk to me about gaming industry. But I've been playing World of Warcraft and Warcraft 3 3 years ago, 10 years ago, and we don't need a blockchain for that. It doesn't work. So first, I would like to understand what's the concept of building a game on chain. So that would be a question to you.
Yeah.
And the second is that, are you mentioning that maybe the economy of the gaming could be made interoperable between different games thanks to decentralization. I think DeFi, to go back to what I know, is the most interesting case to decentralize. To me, the gaming industry is not yet ready to enter into the blockchain because the infrastructure is not ready yet.
So my comment about gaming was just an example that people who are not directly building, digital asset related or digital finance related things, but these could be services, games, etc. as an example. But I guess you could make a great panel with Yatsu, and debate, how gaming will be the next revolution. But also I would like to mention, on a panel that I met, there was a guy from A16Z, like CTO of A16Z Crypto, and he was moderating 2 developers who built a fully on-chain game, and others started forking the game and building new modes of the game. So you could even think in those layers, but I agree that you cannot do it on Ethereum if they use something like very, very fast. I don't remember what.
And what was the visualization? Was it beautiful or was it 2D?
2D-ish, but Lou wants to say something about that, I guess. And be careful about the speaker.
Have you? Are you familiar with Splinterlands?
Splinterlands.
Splinterlands. It's the largest blockchain game. It's I think a super interesting example. It's run on the Hive blockchain, but able to do a lot of things that just weren't possible. And it's a very compelling game. Not doing great at the moment, like the rest of crypto. But I think it's not hard to look at that and see a pretty bright future in my view.
Okay. Somebody will have to debate Laurent for the rest of the evening about this, but let's leave it for the rest of the evening, okay? Thanks. Anything else to add, or let's switch to Gabija? Yeah.
I can add on this topic. In my opinion, yes, I completely agree that building games on... I don't see also a point of building games on blockchain itself. I think what could be possible is something in the middle. So just like we have Web 2, we have Web 3 now, and we have what I call Web 2.5, which is, let's say, Coinbase, something in the middle. Not fully Web 2, but also not fully Web 3. Yeah. So I think with games, it will be something similar in the sense where you have this, connected ecosystem where maybe there is a use for NFTs, maybe there is use for, having crypto as a monetary system within the games, but purely building games fully on-chain is just, from speed perspective, from cost perspective, is just,
Let's switch from the games. That's a separate discussion that I see some volunteers to debate you headstrong. So what else? What other advice would you give to others? Like either common people that want to invest in something, buy a token and forget it, or builders of a new crypto finance applications.
Well, I don't give financial advice. I would say the most, at least for me personally, where I see the most potential is still L2s. I think there could be a lot of great opportunities with, new projects emerging. So you can try and catch those or screen the Twitter or the X hole, as I should call it now. But from building perspective, I think it should be more and more composable in terms of the apps and projects that are built. I can only speak from DeFi perspective, so take into account that part. But from DeFi perspective, I would say now we have a lot of fragmentation in the space, which is in a sense unnecessary. We have a lot of traders that take advantage of the fragmentation and and inaccuracies or the price differences. So I think from the project perspective, I think the focus should be how by building something new, whatever it might be, how can you make the space more composable in a sense?
Happily.
Yeah, so I guess in terms of ideas of like what to focus on, I would suggest people like to steer away from like crypto Twitter, which is like 3,000 people, and like no one really cares like what 3,000 people think. If we think that the space is gonna like mature and like grow into like something bigger, it's kind of really like a big echo chamber that's like self-referential. So like some interesting ideas that we're looking at as a fund is, like one area is like decentralized science, which is trying to use blockchain as like capital formation primitive to fund scientific progress in like underlooked areas. So there are some projects that try to like solve the longevity or like hair loss treatment or like cancer research, that kind of thing, and like they basically use blockchain to like raise capital, put the IP into the IP NFT format, so then the token holders like get the exposure to the IP itself, the medical IP itself, and it's like we feel like blockchain has this use case of like capital formation and like incentive alignment. So this is one interesting area that we feel like will proliferate. And then other things we think just have to do more with like commerce and like payments. Like many of these things have been attempted in the past and like kind of went pretty much nowhere, but we feel like with with the infrastructure that has advanced now, we could have like much more interesting things are like consumer loyalty with NFTs and social graphs and that kind of thing. So I would suggest people to like look more into like consumer needs rather than like the 3,000 speculators.
So the next, Lou is sharing, but after that, I want Lou to ask a question every single person here. Try maybe
move in your direction.
Because he's emceeing conferences, I'm just emceeing this meetup.
For me, I think best advice, there's so much like blue ocean out there. What are you passionate about, right? And do something, that you think, is going to change the world. But I would say don't. We have this brand new tool set, with these new properties, and we can reimagine everything. Don't decentralize Facebook or Uber. I don't think that's very interesting. I think 2 billion people are actually pretty happy for some shocking reason with Facebook. But we now have the tools to like totally rethink what social can be. I think that's what's really exciting.
And do you want to ask a question of each of these individuals, even though you don't remember the names? You can finger point and
I'm now
throw a question.
Wander over there. Well, no, I mean, what's I'm a broken record about community, but what can you teach the audience and me about community, or and if not community, about what about crypto? Because I think that's what we're all here for is to learn.
Starting from me, for me personally, the actual use cases which are coming, I believe, are not yet still fully realized, because the crypto changes the whole economic and social paradigm as a whole. We're talking a lot about IT, finance, gaming, stuff like that, but as a whole, if you look at it from a macroeconomic or even microeconomic perspective, you can use crypto to basically change the shareholding structures, customer loyalty, employee-employer relations, stuff like that. Because at the same time, with crypto, you can be the employer, you can be the shareholder, and you can be the client in the same person, which has historically no precedent in economics, actually, because all those roles have been separated. And in crypto, you can make them whole, basically. And that's, I believe, utopian, dystopian future we're looking at. But I think that, it will be interesting. And I think it will move into that direction, that we will have some sort of changing paradigms that we operate in currently.
I think this is great.
Sharing.
we're talking about communities, right? Okay.
If you'd like.
Yeah, I don't think I'm a big expert on communities, so Lou, your opinion I think would be more valuable. You built a number of communities. You and gave your description of community this morning to me, which I don't remember. For me, community is a group of people with a shared interest, right? So it's for me it would be very easy. I think building community in Web 2 and Web 3 is very different. I think Web 3 is slightly distorted due to the incentives and other things. So I think how I see communities being built in Web 3, they are less honest and sincere. You know, they kind of feel like forced. In Web 2, I think some of the communities were more organically and naturally built. So I really hope we're gonna see more of these natural, organic communities being built in Web 3 as well, and that everything would come through a shared interest in a product rather than in shared interest of monetary value to get from a project. So yeah, but I'm not a big expert on communities, I guess. So Laurent, maybe you always have an opinion.
Me, I'm just look at DeFi. Sorry, I don't know anything about community. Just that the more you pay people, the more they will join your community. So yeah, and then to make them sticky, I don't know, like how to make community sticky. I'm not expert about community building. But just to add one point, not to be redundant about DeFi, is that what has been done in DeFi so far is just like trading, okay? A for B, B for A, that was fine. But look at option market, fixed income market, yield market, RWA market, so real world assets. Everything has to be built yet. We are just at the beginning of decentralization of finance. My next move as MEV Capital will be to open option market to retailers, to open fixed income to retailers. And from those bases, we can start to tokenize, for example, real-world assets. And please keep in mind that the fixed income market nowadays is 12 times bigger than equities. So I really believe that for the next year, I really think that fixed income, option, real estate, tokenization could be a big deal.
I don't have anything to add on the communities.
Yeah, I think communities in crypto, like if there is no token, there's no community, and if the token goes down, there's also no community. So I think that tells like a lot about communities in crypto. And if you think of like, I think like the big problem that like founders have is when they say that we're building a community, but they don't have a product, right? So like that's kind of like always doomed to fail, I feel like. And if you look at like the sort of the real world and like products like Apple, that kind of thing, I mean, people are advocates. People are advocates of something because of the product that they have, not the stock that they own, most of the time, at least, unless we're talking about Tesla, but that's kind of more of an exception. So yeah, so like some examples that we see where like there's a community like without necessarily a token incentive is like the thing that I mentioned before, which is like decentralized science. So there's like a project that like aims to solve the hair loss treatment, and people are buying these substances from Alibaba, shipping them from China to US, taking the treatments on themselves, taking the pictures of their head, putting the pictures on Discord, and like trying to move the project forward, even if there's like no direct economic incentive to them. So I feel like, yeah, this is an example of community. I feel like we need more of those.
Cool. So, you know, does anyone want to share something else? Because if not, then we will open the floor for anyone who wants to do an update, talk something, etc. Yeah, so guys, do you want to say something else?
Any closing comments?
Yeah, closing comments if you want.
Yeah, I guess look at what the users need and don't try to optimize the infrastructure first. So that's my closing comment.
Okay, so since we are safe under the roof now, like Lou and I got into the storm and we were standing under the tree for like 15 minutes a day. So now it was a wise choice to have a ceiling above our heads. So guys, it's a meetup, so it means you should meet people, and you know, you can meet with speakers, you can meet a person next to you, and let's do this. Let's have some, you know, drinks, food. You know, it's a food court. You know, you can have your dinner and mingle with each other. And anyone who wants to announce something, you know, let's keep it open for like the next 10 minutes. And if it keeps going, it keeps going. If it's not, then yeah. Thank you for listening to the content piece. Now it's a fun time. Yeah. Pleasure.